Tuperas y tuperas, today on DOOP By The River, we're going to touch upon the MLS showing our youngsters some loving. I love it. We're also going to talk about the Supporters Shield nonsense. Yeah, it's pretty wild, guys. It's definitely pretty wild. We're going to dive back into the New England Review. Another great win against Robert Kraft FC. We're also going to touch upon this weekend's match. This is a big match, ladies and gentlemen. TFC, Philadelphia, you already know what it is. Tim and I are going to break that down. That's all coming up next. You do not want to miss this episode of DOOP By The River. And let's get this started, guys. And that is right. Welcome everyone to DOOP By The River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. And before we move forward, guys, do not forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast. We would truly love every bit of love you guys can send our way. And of course, guys, I'm joined by who else? My man, Mr. Tim Lovingood. He's looking really snazzy today with his nice little button up. I'm absolutely loving the vibe. What's going on, Tim? How you feeling today?
Hey, I'm doing all right. You know, we got some good news here today about the Union youngsters that we'll go right into. But no, it's a big week for the Union and to see where they can really finish this year.
Oh yeah, this is it's crazy. Like every year, it's just with the Union, it just gets better and better and better, and you can get behind your soccer team in Philadelphia, ladies and gentlemen. Well, Tim, let's just dive into what we got today on this episode, right? Yeah. So I want to talk about this MLS list that they brought out. It was today, actually. Today on Thursday, they brought out this list. And pretty much was the best under 22 players in the MLS. And ladies and gentlemen, your Philadelphia Union didn't have just one, but two players, not in the top 10, in the top 5, guys. In the top freaking 5. Let me just tell you who's on this top 5 list there, Tim. Ready? So number 5, which was a surprise to me, we have Paps and Pomacall from FC Dallas. Remember last season they were pitting Brennan with Paxton a lot, right? Now he's at number 5. Number 4 is Ayo Akinola. We all know that kid's freaking dangerous. He's going to be really good as well. Number 3, our boy, Mr. Mark McKenzie, manning down the back line. And then number 2, Brian Rodriguez. And then number 1, Mr. Medford Messi, Brendan Aronson. Dude, this is nuts. We're getting freaking a lot of love from MLSsoccer.com. What's your thoughts on this list?
Yeah, I thought it was it's a huge accomplishment for the Union to have not one but two players in the top 3, not even top 5. It's the top 3. It's crazy. Over the last few years, we've seen Union players make this list. They haven't ever been near the top. And this has been something that I think the Union have been trying to do, to produce these young academy kids that really make a difference. We've been seeing it this year, specifically with McKenzie and with Brendan Aronson. We've also seen it with some other players too, who were kind of snubbed off the list a little bit. I think Anthony Fontana might have some fire under him for not making that.
Oh yeah, I love it.
That just means he'll score another banger. No, but to have two players at the top of this list represent the Union is a huge accomplishment. This has been something that MLS has been producing for the last few years, for a while now, actually. They used to be the 24 under 24, and as the MLS has kind of grown to be a younger league with, academy players rising to the first team and playing well, they adjusted it to 22 under 22. And now we're seeing that the Union's academy products are going to come up through, and make this list and show MLS. Everyone at MLS are, they basically vote and they make their lists, and then it's kind of a consensus, and that's what's brought into what we're seeing now. So the consensus is Brendan Aronson is the best young player in MLS. And we saw it in MLS's back tournament. Obviously, he won the honors of best young player in that, made up tournament, sort of like the World Cup style awards there. But now we're seeing him get the recognition of in the regular season. He's killed it. So he deserves that. And Mark McKenzie hasn't been bad either. He's been our best defender. So that's why he's
Absolutely.
in the top 3 as well. So yeah, no, it's just a huge accomplishment for these guys here.
Obviously, Tim, look, we have to finish the job. We have to win some trophies, but could the Union be setting up, dare I say, a standard of winning in the MLS now? By developing your kids that are in your own backyard, and then just plugging in players from different countries that they gotten written off, like a Casper Shabilko, a Sergio Santos Gomes, a Kai Wagner. We obviously have to get the job done, but could this be the new standard and new model building MLS championship clubs?
Yeah, I think the Union right now are showing that they're one of the better teams doing it. They're not the first to go through this model. I think of like FC Dallas a few years ago had really players like this. Even New York Red Bull, as soon as or as recently as 2 years ago when Tyler Adams was kind of storming through everything. They kind of had the same model, but the Union have kind of taken over everyone in that regard right now, and I think we'll see other teams kind of catch up here in the future. The Union are still producing, so I expect them to be at the top of academy products to come into MLS, and Ernst has shown that that's what they want to do. So I think we will see more and more Union players near the top of this list here. But I don't think other teams are too far behind them in that. But if the Union are setting a trend into how many players kind of go from the academy to their second team to then the first team, then I think other teams will try to copy that.
I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. Like the thought of just growing with these guys and then potentially seeing like the thought of me rooting for a Red Bull team next year is kind of crazy, but it's cool because I'm going to see my number 10 competing in European competitions. And it's definitely, it's just what we've all wanted this. Let's face it. We want cups. We want to win, but this is how clubs are going to progress in the MLS. I really, truly believe that, man. It's great. It's absolutely great. All right. So let's move on here. Look, this year in total, Tim, it's been a mess, right? Like everything has been such a mess with just the way of life, sports, everything. Well, the MLS have been diving. Well, it's not really the MLS's fault, but I've been diving deep into the mess as well. The Supporters Shield's nonsense. Pretty much, we won't have a Supporters Shield trophy, and I will let Tim dive into this one because he has been on top of this. So take it away here, Tim, because this is ridiculous, man. I'm done.
I don't know if I've really been on top of it as much as I've been close to other people who are really more in the know right now with this, because Supporter Shield apparently have more of like a foundation and a board made up of fans that then dictate how the trophy gets presented to MLS. And this has been something that MLS has worked with now for almost every year since MLS has started. I think the first 2 years they didn't have one, and then they kind of worked together to create this. And it's essentially the best team in MLS wins the Shield, the Supporter Shield, and it's a trophy that is specifically for the fans. Apparently, it's not necessarily for the team, even though it's a trophy the team wins, and there's perks that come along with that. What happened this past weekend was the foundation said 2020 has been such a messed up year and fans haven't been able to support their clubs, which I don't agree with, because obviously everyone's still going to support their clubs even if they can't necessarily all go in person.
Have they not been watching all the watch parties around the MLS?
That, or most teams have had fans in the stands. But anyway,
true.
Anyways, the foundation said that this, they're not going to award a shield this season, and they, that's what was put out this weekend. There's a whole lot of backlash to it. Fans and coaches and players alike thought that this was a terrible decision. You had, within a few hours of that decision being made public, you had supporters groups who are technically inside of that group of decision makers say that they were never really told that this was going to happen. And there's some stuff going on with Slack chats and how it wasn't added at the whole group, so people could have gotten a message but maybe wouldn't have seen it, and all this craziness and dumb, stupid things. It came to a point in terms of where the coaches and players were at, where coaches are saying in press conferences that this is dumb. Our players are pissed. That's what Toronto's coach Greg Vanney said. Like, their players are pissed that they now don't have an opportunity. The Union have said this whole year that they've been trying to win 2 trophies, and they've specifically cited the Supporter Shield as one of them since they've been one of the top clubs. So it has been, for lack of better words, a shit show for the last that's what it's been. That foundation has come out a few times saying that, we messed up. We didn't think we would get this kind of reaction. We thought people would just kind of go with it. which is stupid in its own right. And it was like a group of 5 people who made the decision, not a big group. Within a few hours of everything kind of going live with that, MLS actually changed their website. So there, there's usually standings and then supporter shield standings. They changed it to like overall like results standings. Like, I don't think they're very happy about it either. MLS came out with a statement as well saying all of the perks of the supporter shield are still there. So the top team in MLS this year will get a CONCACAF Champions League berth. They will get home field advantage throughout the playoffs. However many games you play, you always play at home. That's huge. Now shift to the last few days. This foundation has come out again and saying that they have been working with, different representatives of supporters groups throughout MLS. And it sounds like they're trying to come to either confirm or retract their statement. And they said they would have an update for everyone made public tonight, Thursday night at 8:30. So we'll kind of see what happens with that there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it really, what it's really going to be, if it's just going to be a confirmation that there's no trophy. It is what it is. The teams that are competing for it are Toronto and Philly, who do play this weekend. So obviously that's a huge match, regardless of if there's a trophy
or we'll talk about that in a second.
Standings or whatever the heck we want to call it, or if maybe MLS wants to create a new trophy to give to someone, like that'd be cool too. Who knows? We'll figure it out. We'll see what happens tonight with that. But yeah, it's been a shit show.
Look, Tim, I've honestly gotten into arguments with other fans, specifically Red Bull fans, because they always like to throw the 4 supporter shields that they want in our faces. But to me, and I'll be honest, I get why it's important, especially for these players. A lot of the players in the MLS come from other leagues where you don't have playoffs.
Right.
Whoever has the most points at the end of the season is the champion. So when you come to America, it's different because it's ran like other American professional leagues. I understand what it means to be the champion at the end of the season. So I understand what the supporter shield means. But to me personally, I know the real championship, the real, what we measure the success of these teams is winning MLS Cups. Yeah. So that's what I want. And I've always said, like, I never really cared about winning as long as the Union just go through the playoffs and win the cup. But I do get that a lot of fans are still into it. I know a lot of Union fans still want to win this. And I want to be the best as well, especially like we talked about in the last episode, Tim. What's on the line here for the Union? You're already going to lose Brendan Aronson next season. You might lose Mark McKenzie still. Next summer, you might lose Fontana. So there's going to be some turmoil going forward. Well, not turmoil, but like changeover with this roster going into next season. So you want to win as many trophies as you can with probably the best team we've ever seen in Union history. And I think more so, Tim, it's kind of messed up. It's crazy that you said that. Like people in the organization didn't even know what's going on. I find that messed up, Tim.
Yeah.
So it is. I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, the MLS is still going to accommodate the top team with the CONCACAF Champions League and all everything that the supporter shield would get. So it's just a weird, messed up situation, like you said. It's a shit show.
Yeah, it really is. Jim Curtin said even in his press conference that when he heard the news, he thought it was a parody account because he had never heard from these guys before. And like, what do you mean you're not going to award a trophy in what is actually the hardest season that anyone has ever played in? And the most, there's just so much turmoil, obviously, with COVID and everything else. And to go through, a compact regular season where you're still playing the majority of games, there should be a reward for the team that does the best in those.
100%.
Unbalanced, and if teams aren't playing the same amount of games, which is everything that was cited there. But that kind of, while games normally would be level, not everyone always played each other in MLS. So if you've awarded trophies to people in the past for that, you should be able to award one this year as well, no matter who wins.
I agree, man. I 100% agree. Well, we'll talk about what could potentially happen down the line for the Union with that aspect. But let's talk real quick about Monday Night Football, Tim. Our Philadelphia, we did it again, Tim. We beat the New England Revolution 2-1. This was another great win for the Philadelphia Union. We saw an Andrew Farrell own goal. That was great to see. Andrew Farrell, he's got my respect as far as a defender in the MLS, and that was great to see getting an own goal from him. Anthony Fontana, oh my God, what a beautiful goal that was. He continuously is showing his skill, Tim. It's freaking fantastic here. I mean, New England got one goal back. It was Tajon Buchanan got one back for New England. But this was it was a solid win. Definitely a solid win. What was your thoughts on the game here, Tim?
It's a solid win. I mean, obviously the Union have played New England more than anyone else this year, but this New England team isn't really a joke. And I know the Union have dominated against them this year, so it might seem like that. But no, this team is pretty good. Like, this is a playoff team. This is a middle of the pack playoff team that, and maybe they're a little bit higher than middle of the pack sometimes too. So, like, being able to not drop points against this team in 4 matches now.
Yeah.
Giant. And especially in this match, we knew the Union didn't have their preferred starting 11. You're playing a center back, Jack Elliott, at defensive midfield. I know he played there in college, but you're playing
crazy
position. You're without your captain. You're without your best defensive midfielder who's been out for a while now. But that could make a difference, and especially in a road game, it's could be hard there. But for the Union to go out and get this win, it's huge, and it shows that they are for real. Now we just have to see them kind of take that level to the teams that are right around them in the standings, rather than below.
Take it to the next level for sure. Yeah. I think Tim, we talked about it in the last episode. Like, New England is literally like a 10 away from being one of those top teams competing with us. We truly believe that. And the Union just did their job. And that's really what you asked for from this team. They did their job against a quality team like New England. This was really a really great one to see. What was your thoughts on Jack Elliott at the 6?
He did fine. He put out some fires. He was involved in the attack actually a little bit as well. He had some, a key pass actually slipped in a player early. I can't remember who it was, but chance on goal. I think it might have been Brendan Aronson. But yeah, he looked okay. Obviously, he's not the person that you want in that position. There were times where it was a little bit disjointed, whether he would stay back a little bit or if he was caught up field. He doesn't have the pace that El Brujo has, so it was a little, maybe disjointed at times, but it worked, especially when New England seemed like their only attack was going to be sending in crosses, at least for the first half. So when you have, a third center back in there and to help kind of clean things up, and if they're going to be out wide, he can kind of, sit back there with the other center backs. It made the difference, at least in the first half there.
Yeah, no, I mean, if New England might have had a 10, maybe they could have, taken advantage of Jack Elliott, but
if Carlos Hill is playing, he's the real deal for them. Yeah. And his injury has really hurt them this year for sure.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely 100%. Let's touch upon the sub selection. So Jim went with a very attack oriented sub selection when you had a 2-0 lead really for most of the game, and then they put out we had Andrew Wooten, we had El Sino, and we had Corey Burke. Corey Burke came back. What would you think of Corey Burke on his return?
He looked okay. I mean, obviously, you know what you get from Corey Burke, and that's work rate. Whether or not he's the best passer, the best finisher, we've seen he can score a goal. He's kind of got that poacher mentality, but his main attribute is that he's going to work his ass off when he gets on the field. And that's what I think the Union need from their, striker coming off the bench. We haven't really seen that much from Wooten in terms of tenacity. You've seen that he can be more of a facilitator than maybe some other strikers. But Corey came in, he got on the ball. He, tried to play a few balls into the box and maybe get a few shots, but he was kind of spread a little bit wide. So he was in more of the role to play some passes forward. Obviously, the fitness wasn't 100% there. He was okay, and he had fresh legs when he came in the game. But there were times where, if you thought of like Corey Burke back, end of 2018, early 2019, he might have been a little bit sharper on the day. But no, it's great to have him back. And to your point, the making 3 attacking subs when you're up 2-0 on the road is pretty bold. Obviously we saw El Sino come in first, and that's right. I think it was right before or after the second goal or the Fontana goal. It was it was right after it. Or no, right before it, excuse me. That obviously made a little bit of a difference there, shifted some things up for the Union, and then bringing on 2 strikers, different look for sure.
Tim, could that be one of the other reasons why Bruce Arena walked out of Gillette Stadium with a pissy face on? I love it. We saw the same thing in the MLS back tournament. We eliminated them in the round of 16, and then he did the same exact reaction on Monday night. It's absolutely great, seeing Bruce Arena, who remember what he said. We have a dull and a simple style of play, and it's nothing too complicated that we do. Well, they haven't beaten us since 2017, so it's working for something, man. It was absolutely great to see the banter back and forth for some New England fans in Philly. Look, we've played each other too many times this season. I think that the friction is clearly there. So
Yeah.
I think the MLS did something right there.
Yeah, I mean, Bruce, obviously, while he thinks the Union have a simple style of play, I mean, he hasn't shown that he can break down a team that high presses like the Union. So obviously, it's not. I mean, it is simple, but you still have to be able to beat it. Like, and I think that's why he was looking the way he did, because he knows that the team that he has cannot beat this team down. Yeah, plain and simple.
It's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. All right, you ready, Tim? Are you
Yeah.
ready to talk about an extremely, extremely important game in our young history? Now, look, Union and TFC, we already know what it is every time these guys meet up. There's always fireworks. It's not like a rivalry per se, but we have a distaste. I personally have a distaste against Toronto. I'm
Oh,
not gonna lie to you guys. But we talked about a little bit before. We don't know what the situation is with Supporter Shield yet, but still, like, you want to be the top team in the MLS in the regular season, especially what we just talked about, the circumstances of this roster going forward.
yeah.
I put this game up with last year's Atlanta United game and last year's LAFC game. This is an extremely important game. Like, this is for Supporter Shield essentially. So, first, Tim, what's your thoughts? Like, where do you put this as far as importance in Union's young history?
Yeah, it's got to be up there with the most important regular season games of all time. Obviously, it can't jump into most important game unless this is the game that decides a supporter shield, or what the perks of a supporter shield without a trophy. I think if that happens, then you point to this game as the reason why the Union have that top spot and possibly get their first trophy ever. Then you can kind of point to that. But before that, it was all of the Open Cup finals. Unfortunately, they were all losses. It was the first playoff win, or the first home playoff game way back in 2011. Like, those games are definitely still above this one. But this is the most important Union game of 2020 for sure, at least right now until we get to the playoffs. Yeah, this game, I think if there is a winner in this match, it will determine who is the top of MLS. I really do. Whoever can come on top. I don't think this one ends in a draw. We'll get into predictions later, but I think there won't. I think both of these teams, have it, and they're going to push for a win, and someone's going to find a winner in this match.
Look, the last time we played these guys, Tim, we had them. We had them. Where that second Santos goal in the 5th minute was absolutely beautiful. And it took them. I think it was like in the 70th some minutes for them to get the first goal, and then they won it obviously in the 80th minute.
Yeah.
So this isn't like a game that, like, there's no chance for the Union. Like, this is a 50-50 opportunity for both sides to win this game. So how do we beat this team?
Yeah, I mean, what we saw last time, the Union scored really early. Obviously, Sergio Santos with a nice goal there. But with this Toronto team, they've shown time and time again over the years is that they have a second and third gear when it comes to this time in the season, or playoff time, or games that really, really mean something. This team just has really been at the best at that, and the Union will have to counter that by being up for it the entire match. Like you said, the last match against this team, Union scored the first goal. They looked really, really good in that first half. They held them off. They held them off until the 70th minute, and then the legs got tired, and Toronto moved into that second or third gear, and they scored 2 goals, and they got all 3 points. For this game to not be the same, the Union have to match that intensity, and they have to keep it at the highest level, and they can't switch off like they have against teams. We've seen in the last few games, there have been times where the Union kind of switch off when they're not in possession, and they will, allow teams to dribble at them and then take shots. That's what happened on the New England goal this past, weekend, this past Monday, I should say. And it happened against the last home game against Montreal. You can't let that happen in any game, least as much against a team like Toronto. So that's what I'll kind of be watching for is the intensity. We know the Union start fast, but they're going to have to keep the intensity up the entire 90 minutes if they want to win this match.
Listen, I completely agree with you. Like, it's crazy. Toronto they truly are built for this time of year. They know, like you said, they know how to hit that next gear. It's veterans. There's still a lot of veteran pieces. I see Michael Bradley's been integrated back into the lineup. So that's huge boost for them. This is going to be a physical ass game, but I've seen the Union match that physicality, and I've seen Jim Kirchin in the past, like even you look the past 2 seasons, Jim has gotten this team up and ready for a lot of these important games. Let's not talk about Portland. Let's not talk about that. Don't talk about that. But again, like this, this team knows how to get up for these important games here, man. Oh man, dude, give me that prediction. What do you feel? What are you feeling here?
So my prediction is kind of based on actually the Union's lineup in this match. Obviously, we know Alejandro Bedoya will be back with the team after not being there against New England for yellow card suspension. There was some doubt about Jamiro Montero being available because of yellow cards, but he was able to, he did get a yellow last match, but he didn't accrue as many. So he will be there, and I'm assuming he's going to be a starter as well. The key for me is what happens with El Brujo, because he is available for this match against Toronto. I think if he starts and if he is his normal self, if he hasn't lost a step, after going away on national team duty, if he comes back in and is super, super hungry, then I think the Union will start fast, and I think they're able to find a win here. I say this because then obviously you shift Brendan Aronson back to the 10 in that 4-4-2 diamond, and you get that midfield back in and working. And then in the second half, you bring in Fontana and Elsinho and maybe a Corey Burke as your super subs if you're kind of late in the game and you need a goal. That's a great attacking depth to have off the bench. And we've seen
that
likes to use attacking subs. So my prediction is if El Brujo starts, the Union fall back into their preferred style of play and they play up to their potential. So I think the Union win, essentially, if El Brujo starts. If he's on the bench, I'm a little worried because Warren Creavalle is still injured. So you don't have that other defensive midfielder. We've seen Mr. Sexy Season is not really going to get on the pitch. I would be surprised if he, features in this his first minutes. If he can't, if he's not there, then you're thinking maybe, is Jack Elliott going to play? Are you going to play a 4-2-3-1 and bring in Fontana and push Aronson out wide? Like there's different variations there. But I think that if they do start that way, it'll kind of not click as well as Toronto will click because they are pretty solid in the way that they have been playing this year. That's what I got.
Absolutely. Look, I think really for the Union, it's just about finishing, right? Like playing a full 90 minutes. Obviously, Toronto turned the gear up in the second half. We saw how we lost that match. I think it's going to be similar here. I think what you said is really the key. If El Brujo is playing and he's back to El Brujo that we saw, this is a great opportunity for us to win this game. And I think that he really will, Tim. Like, I think number one, he's going to start. I think Jim likes to do these things. Like he's like, I don't know if we'll start. I'm like, he likes the poker face, right? He loves that poker face. So I think that he's just doing this so that, it's not really gonna be a surprise. Like Greg is a veteran. Like he's won MLS Cups for a reason. Like he's preparing for El Brujo and the 4-4-2 diamond. He's probably preparing for the 4-2-3-1 with Aronson out wide and Fontana at the 10. But I agree with you. Like I think the best opportunity for the Union to win is with the midfield that we know. You have El Brujo at the 6. Your shuttle midfielders are Jamiro and Ali, and then your number 10 is Brendan. And I think that gives you the best opportunity to win. I think that El Brujo is going to win. He's going to have that confidence from playing with his national team. Like that gives someone so much confidence, especially in the MLS. Yeah. I think Casper's going to show up. Sergio is going to give him that boost as well. And I see the Union winning 2-1. See what I did there? A little payback from TFC. We're going to get this W. We're going to win this, whatever trophy. We'll call it the DOOP trophy. We'll win the DOOP trophy.
We're going to win the overall standings. That's what it says. Overall standings.
That's even worse than the Washington football team, man. That's terrible.
It's even worse than MLS's back tournament.
Oh man. Awesome stuff. All right. So tonight we don't have time to do all the predictions.
Yeah.
Tonight, actually, ladies and gentlemen, is Thursday night football. Listen, this is a 5-5 city, so we will support our Philadelphia Eagles as well as our Philadelphia Union on Saturday night. So what I want from you today, Tim, I still want a prediction, but I want a prediction of the Birds and the Giants on Thursday night football. What do you think is going to happen?
It's going to be a tie. No, I'm kidding. No, I mean, we've seen, if you want some football analysis here, here's where you get my football analysis. Carson Wentz has actually looked good over the last 2 weeks against the number 1 and number 2 defense in the NFL.
Thank you.
Now he's going up against a crappy secondary in the Giants. I know the Giants have been kind of feeling themselves, even though they only have 1 win and NFC East is trash, and we all know all of this. But the Eagles have to win this game. I mean, like, if they want to be in contention with the 2-4 Cowboys with Andy Dalton, they're gonna have to win this football game. So that's what I got. I got the Eagles winning.
Nice. What's the score?
Score, I'm gonna say 28-20.
Wow, I'm close with you. So I think that the Eagles will win this. Like you said, the position that the Eagles put themselves in, they have to win all the NFC East games. Like if you pull a dud against the Browns, and I forget what other teams that we played down the line, but if you pull a dud against a non-NFC East team, then you really, you're fine. But this is a game where, again, the defense is not that good, right? The offensive line, the Giants' offense is literally Daniel Jones, and that's it. I think that Lane Johnson's back. Deshaun Jackson is going to give you something. I think, yeah. I'm there with you. I think the Eagles are going to pull it out. The blackouts are back. The D-line's going to get after Daniel Jones. It's going to be a 28-17 win for the Eagles. And we're moving forward. Then we're going on to Dallas. And we're going to win at home in Dallas. It's going to be great. It's definitely going to be great. All right, awesome stuff there. Tim, any last words for the listeners this week?
No, everyone who is able to go to the match this weekend, I know it's a sellout. So it's the first Union sellout in COVID. I know, just percentages of the fans are going to be there. I'll be down there, so I'm excited to see everybody. Just have fun, watch this match, and let's hope that our Union can find a way to come up on top in this one.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, a sellout for the Union and during COVID is the same as a sellout for New England in normal time. So we're doing something right there. Yeah. Awesome stuff. Guys, thank you so much for listening again. It truly means the world for me. It's for Tim and I, honestly. Don't forget to rate and subscribe to the podcast. We are your people's podcast. We would love if you could rate and subscribe too. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Tim Lovinguth. I'm a Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to DOOP on. Let's go, Union vsTFC.